All right. I'm gonna miss a strand in here. That's all right though. Hope everybody's doing good. I'm just curious how everybody feels about this whole entire DDG situation. I want to start there first. I mainly want to start there because I empathize for a young man that's just trying to be a father. And it seems like the world is going against him in that area. Um, they always say black men don't want to be fathers, black men don't want to be in kids' lives, but that's not the case here. DDG, as soon as he became a father, it seems and appears he's wanted to be an active father. And quite often we see where women can weaponize the system to work in favor for them. We see that a lot. And I feel like this is the situation here. Now, if something truly did happen to Halle or Haley, then yes, DDG does need face consequences. However, I don't think that's the case. Even though DDG and DG Academics has had their beefs, academics have came out with receipts showing that Haley is not necessarily the best woman in the world, and she has a very toxic behavior and traits. Um, while I'm talking, if you're watching, go ahead and like and subscribe. I appreciate it. I'm just talking about DDG and the Halle Berry situation for now, and I'll move on to the Diddy and Cassie stuff later. But yeah, for real though, if you really think about it, we have no real evidence of what happened with his half a word. And if you're a man and you're a father, we have seen time and time again where the system has been weaponized against us. It has been weaponized against you personally. It's been weaponized against you in the sense of your brother, your father, or cousin. Now, is there some um, 8-ish men out there who don't take care of their kids? Of course. Just like it's the same for mothers too. Big men, I don't barbecue. I don't know why you put that in there, but okay, I guess that's what you're having for lunch. But anyways, back to what I was saying though, we have no real evidence. The only thing we have right now is just a word. And actually, let me talk about that for a second. So I don't know if you know this. You don't actually need real proof to show to get a restraining order. You really don't. So if you're in a domestic situation and you say you're in fear of somebody else, you don't gotta go in front of a judge. You actually go, well, depending on the state, like in Florida, you don't go in front of a judge right away. You can go file for a restraining order. You just got to go there and give reasonable cause for that restraining order. For example, you give examples of how you interfere your life. You can give examples of past situations. You can do all kinds of things like that, and even show pictures or videos to that particular person that will go and present it to a judge, and the judge reviews it, and he thinks everything is valid enough for you to have reasonable concern for your health and safety. They will grant that restraining order, that temporary restraining order. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. They didn't go in front of a trial. It's just some picture. And realistically speaking, I don't know about you all. Um, I have personally seen that firsthand, to where you just get a temporary restraining order until you actually get to the court case, because the mother may have some fear. And some women have been known to harm themselves. They have been known to, hit their arms, there's a whole movie about that. You can see clips about that. You may know family members have done that, if you're being really honest. I got some comments here. Let's see. How do you escape a toxic relationship? It's really hard. And truthfully, the only way you can really leave a toxic relationship is just to leave and cut them off completely. And that's just my opinion of it. Now, I know everybody's circumstances are different. I know some people are heavily relying on the person they're in that relationship with. And also, I want to ask is, when you say a toxic relationship, what do you mean by that? Do you mean like a husband and wife, a boyfriend girlfriend situation, a mother father? Relationships that are toxic span across everything. So you never know. How much money you want me to donate? Um, I don't know. I'm new to this whole entire YouTube stuff, man, but I appreciate the sentiment. That just means a lot. If you want to do something, just like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Anyways, back to what I was saying though. So there's no real evidence of that, right? Anybody can really go and get a restraining order against another person if you show enough proof. Again, proof to the judge. If you show a reasonable concern, and let's be honest here, she is an actress. Now, I think it's kind of silly. I think it's ridiculous. DDG is, from what I can tell, a responsible man. You see him trying to take care and safeguard his sister. He takes care of his family. You see him always trying to be in his son's life, be active in their lives, in his life. You see him trying to do the right thing for the most part. And nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. He could very well be a toxic person to be in a relationship with. He could very well just not be the right person for her. And let's say that he was abusive towards her. Let's say if he was. Abuse is not always black and white. And when I say this is, let's say if he did hit her, did she hit him first? And that's the question there, because such a thing as mutual combat. So a spouse, two spouses could get into a conflict. It was just a mutual thing. They both messed each other up. And times they can disagree and it can be dismissed. It's very rare. Yeah, I find it extremely hard to believe if you look at any of Hallie's past posts that she'll sit there and just let a man do her like that. If anything, she kind of seems like she'll be more of the aggressor. And again, I'm not trying to victim shame here. I don't want that to come across as that. I'm just trying to see it from a different point of view. And the reason I say that is a lot of the time, men, they have it as we're automatically guilty until proven innocent, especially black men. And Halle has the advantage because she's a Disney star. She's a Disney princess. People are gonna automatically assume that she is a princess in real life. They're gonna assume she's such a great person and wonderful mother, but they don't actually look at her past character traits and stuff that she said herself online. Would you rather always feel understood or always feel appreciated? That's a really great question. I feel like if you're understood, you would be appreciated. But I just to add on to that, if you're talking about in a relationship sense, I don't always need to be understood, but I do need to always feel respected. And I think that's the really biggest thing there. So if and I feel like maybe appreciated and respect will go hand in hand. I feel like respect is a lot more important. Understanding can come with time and patience, especially if you love the person, right? But respect is so thin, and people, especially your spouse, especially when y'all get into a fight and y'all mad, it's so quick to disrespect you, especially in the man woman dynamic. Because let's be real here, if we're just going to be honest, it's very rare a woman can actually beat a man in a physical aspect. However, the way a lot of women will get to men is just by disrespecting them. That's just some just by disrespecting them. And sometimes, as a man, if you truly love a woman, that disrespect would cut and hurt a lot deeper than any type of physical harm that she would potentially do to you. So appreciate and respect are more important than being understood in a sense. And I feel like if you appreciate and respect me, you'll take the time to understand me. I hope that answers your question. Blessings from Sydney, Australia. Thank you. Blessings back to you too, man. But I just wish people would not villainize DDG right away and just give an opportunity for the facts to come out because when it comes out, we never fully truly know what's going on. Let's see. So along with, let's see, do you think as somebody who's not conventional or any kind of attractive, is it hard to show people one's true golden character because one does not even get a chance to do so? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I mean, from what I gather from that comment, that if somebody's not attractive, do they get to? Can somebody see their character? And the question and answer to that is yes. There are plenty of women that are not attractive, but men will go after because of like their personality. It's not always the physical attractiveness, it's about how you carry yourself. If you carry yourself in a respectable, attractive manner, you'll gravitate more people. And not just for anybody, right? It's always about confidence and how you carry yourself. Um, I've noticed over the years that when it comes to there's like a lot of women, if you like one of my best friends, she was absolutely gorgeous. And the thing about her was she always attracted losers because she didn't have any confidence herself. But once she actually got some confidence, she ended up getting married to a military officer. So it's all about how you carry yourself and what kind of confidence you show. I mean, reviving my faith in Jesus. Good for you. Good for you. I don't knock anybody's faith. I feel like personally that anybody, if you want to dedicate yourself to any faith or religion, just make sure you study all aspects of it and the good and the bad. That's just my personal take on that. Paranormal, have I ever experienced paranormal STFFS before? I don't know what that stands for. I really don't know what that stands for. Um, let's see. Hello for England. May all year achieve your goals today. Good stuff. Blessings there and go. Good stuff. I like all the positive stuff in. That's really great. And if you guys haven't, again, kind of need some water. Anyways, if you haven't already, go ahead and just like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Anyways, back what I was saying about the whole entire DDG thing. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And we look at a woman like Haley, who is a relatively popular, attractive woman, and then people are going to take her side. That's just the way it is. We tend to gravitate and believe more people who have a very innocent, pretty looking face or persona, and we don't want to hear them out for who they are. I mean, let's be real here. I have women in my family who would be considered gorgeous, but are horrible people, and that's just what it is. I've been friends with women like that. I have been friends with women who were not the best looking, but were great people, and sometimes vice versa. We have a tension. We always say this old statement, right? Never judge a book by its cover, but we always do. I mean, it's a nice statement, but it's not a true statement. We always do that. We always judge books by their covers when it comes to people. We always assume the attractive, good-looking person is going to be nice because we want to believe that. And I'm not saying that DDG is an ugly man. I, I have no fight in that area. However, I will say the general public is going to believe the pretty woman who's a Disney princess. Never mind, time and time again, we keep seeing more and more evidence of women doing men wrong just because the men don't want to be with them anymore. And I remember I saw at one point in time that people were saying that, it was a money grab for DDG to be with her, but he makes a lot of money. The man makes over $1 million a month. His net worth is as far surpasses Haley's or Halle Berry's, right? So, I mean, come on. People believe what they want to believe. And for some reason, they tend to ignore their own personal experiences when it comes to judging these people and being harsh on them. What I see is a man that wants to be a father. We get so much slack for black men not wanting to be fathers, black men not wanting to be in their kids' lives. But if you want me to be really honest with you, I have never met a black man that has never wanted to be in their kid's life. I never met one, not one. So when I see uh, this situation here, I feel bad because eventually what's going to end up happening is going to be one or two things, right? It's going to be either their son is going to be a husband's son to Haley, or that son is going to end up resenting her, and um, that's going to be a very unfortunate thing. Let's see here. Rach, thank you for the support fallout. Let's see. I'm ugly as hell, a happy father of $4 and a husband to a lovely wife. 27 years now. I started you. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. I was married myself. I couldn't get it to work. I tried my hardest, and It was just one of those things that the woman I chose to marry much rather have um, essentially be in the streets than be a wife. And that's the sucky part about it. Diddy is toast. I want to talk about that. Diddy is okay. I don't know if you mean Diddy is toast like Diddy is like gonna get arrested. Matthew, that's beautiful. Ivan, no racist stuff, bro, not cool. Jesus, all skin. Well, when I think he said Diddy is toast, I think he meant Diddy is going to go to prison. I'm not sure if he meant Diddy is toast in a racist sense. At least I didn't think so. I didn't take it that way that time. But since Diddy is being brought up, let's talk about Diddy for a second. And here's my thing about Diddy and Cassie. Do I think Diddy is scum for the things that he have done? Yes, I do. However, however, Cassie, if we're going to be really honest, if you listen to the trial so far, Cassie has been a very willing participant of a lot of things that have gone on. But nobody wants to make her accountable for her own actions and choices. People always want to give her excuse. Oh, she was 19 or 20 when they met. Okay. She was also dating an older man before Diddy, who was in his late 20s or early 30s. I forgot his name right now. And they were together for 3 years, which is problematic in itself because she met Diddy when she was 19 with that man for 3 years before that. That means she met him underage. I don't know, whatever. That part is not on trial. But she has a history of dating older men. And when she was with Diddy, it came out recently. When she was with Kid Cudi, she cheated on Kid Cudi. So I was just like, okay, so she cheated on Kid Cudi with Diddy, or with Diddy or Kid Cudi, because it seems like they never really fully broke up. So again, that's accountable for your own choices, right? And then Kid Cudi's house being broken into, and Diddy being inside of it. Now, here's the thing I find very interesting. Everybody's sensationalizing, like, "Oh man, Diddy broke into the house, was standing in the window, like he was a Marvel supervillain, right?" But my thing about that is, though, even Kid Cudi himself said that nobody actually, the door didn't seem like it was forced open. It was just open, so it wasn't broken into. And just like the defense said, well, who had the key? Cassie had another key to his house. Now, again, is it right for Diddy to be in that house? No, he was not invited. He should have never been there. However, though, he didn't break into the house. He just wanted to have a one-on-one conversation with a man with the woman that he loved that was cheating on both of them. She was playing both sides of the fence, right? She was playing both sides of the fence. She didn't want to be with Diddy, but she wanted to. That's what's really confusing. Nobody's really trying to think about her mindset in that situation. How are you gonna be with one man, then go to another man, and then go back from the other man back to Diddy? Like what? So you go from Diddy to Cuddy to Diddy, and then she cheated on Diddy again with the husband she has now. I mean, if anything, Cassie is a serial cheater. The reason I say that is because those were not the two only men that she was with. Who was the other guy? I forgot who was the other guy she was with that she was supposedly still with Diddy too. Let's see, and there's a lot of comments here. Let me read some of these before I keep going. Let's see. Oops. I'm confused about the whole thing. No, sir, not making a racial thing, just saying he looks like he's going to prison. Yeah, that's what I thought too, Ivan. That's why I was like, I don't think he meant toast in that sense. I just thought you meant toast and like he's going to prison, right? What's going on? What's going on is I've just been talking about a few things that have been going on. I started off with DDG. I'm talking about Diddy and Cassie in the trial right now. Apologies, Ivan. I jumped the gun. I seen some other live streamers. Yeah, whenever you go live and talk about stuff, people they like come in here and troll a lot. I see a lot of racist stuff, and truthfully, I just go ahead and just ignore it. I don't know what you're talking about. No worries, we're all human. What does that mean? Men do it all the time. What do you mean by Selma? What do you mean by men do it all the time? Do you mean men cheat all the time? I can agree with that. Men and women both cheat. Nobody's really innocent when it comes to cheating. People cheat for multiple reasons. Now, do I think women cheating is worse than men cheating? Yes, and I'll tell you why. The reason I think that it's worse for men, for women to cheat than men, most of the time when women cheat, is not necessarily lust; it's more emotional. You have emotional connection to the other person you're cheating with. Now, when men cheat a lot of the time, men cheat because strictly because of lust. A lot of the time they're not getting their feels met at home, and they just want to get in there with somebody else. Are both wrong? Yes. However, a man can sit here and turn off and ignore a woman that he just had a lustful interaction with, compared to a woman who had a emotional interaction with. You know, that has that emotional connection. She's gonna have a harder time letting that go. So, do I think? So that's just me personally. I just personally think that women cheating, the way women cheat, or the reasons women cheat, are typically worse to me. And again, that's just my opinion of it. Let's see. Olives are green or black, and Jesus was not green. Okay. Let's see. Selma, no. Miss Andrew, I mean, tan, green, right wing, more burn brass than describe. So, y'all talking about the whole entire Bible description of Jesus with the skin of brass, hair of wool. I think he had red eyes too, if I remember correctly. Um, One thing I can say is the region that Jesus was in and the time that it was in. I find it very extremely hard to believe that he was a pale skinned person, right? In my opinion, and again, it's just my opinion. Jesus was probably a little lighter complexion than myself, but it's just one of those things that if you have I seen Shroud Attorney, I have not. I have not seen that. I'll be honest with you. When it comes to a lot of the religious movies that are out there, I normally tend to ignore them. And the reason being is because every single one of them will have an agenda, right? They all come from a biased place. They all come from, if it doesn't fit their particular narrative, they will ignore it. And I don't like that. I just want the truth, right? To me, to me, if I'm being honest with you, Jesus being black or having the color of brass skin or Jesus being anything other than white is a problem for the people that control the world. And that's just my opinion of it. Because if you think about it, because I'm in America, right? What do they use to justify all the atrocities they've done? Religious and Jesus. So and that's why they made him look the way he did. In fact, the depiction of Jesus that we actually have isn't even of Jesus. It's of some Spanish guy, if I remember correctly. I can't think of his name right now. If I wasn't on my phone, I would look him up. But he's also some Spanish guy, and his depiction was all over the place. Let's see here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Adelia. Thank you, that guy. So it's just one of those things that once you start looking into the other aspects of it and the history of it, then it's just kind of like, what was I taught? He was a homosexual artist, you're right. But his father ended up having his depiction as Jesus somehow. I forgot how the exact details, but clearly she knows more about it than I do right now. But yeah, I remember that, and I remember when I first learned that, and I was like, wow. So we're all um, taught something, believe something that this isn't true. This guy is speaking the wrong message. See, and that's the thing. I don't understand if you're talking about me as in being this guy. I don't know how my message is wrong. I'm not telling anybody not to follow Jesus. I'm not telling anybody not to follow the Bible. You know, do you and what you believe in. I'm just saying that whenever you're sitting here and you're thinking of Jesus and you're seeing how religion is being used to control the world, just look at the history of it. That's all I'm saying is look at the history of it and see how much of your history has been manipulated. Did you know back in the slavery days, and again, I'm an American, so that's why I want to talk about this part of it, that they gave two versions of the Bible. They gave the white people had one version of the Bible, and another part of the Bible they gave to slaves. In the Bible they gave to slaves, or black people, are the ones, it's the one that had more of the passages that would help them be more submissive and believe and say so they stole them of their own personal religion and then gave them something that was a watered down manipulative version. So that's why I'm saying that that stuff has been used to be manipulated people for centuries. Yahshua, yes, and you know what, you're right, that is his name, but most people don't know that name. Most people just know him as just Jesus, so that's why I'm saying it too. Because when I talk to people, I talk to the people in a common sense, in a common tongue. Because if you start getting into too deep into the details of what Jesus was really called, what God is really called, what things of that nature, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy. So I just try to break it down in the common sense of what everybody was taught, and then you can expand to other things that way. But yeah, you know yourself, good stuff. If he's speaking wrong, I don't care so much. I care about his intentions. If he tries to be true, that's enough. Okay. I am from Ethiopia. Ethiopia have the old Bible most. We believe. I always want to get my hands on an authentic Ethiopian Bible. I really do. Just for the fact that I know it has more books than any Bible that we can get here in the States. I know it's, for the most part, unedited. I always want to get my hands on an Ethiopian Bible. I feel like this kind of got turned into a church sermon somehow, but I want to roll with it. It's cool. Um, because again, I don't have a problem with anybody's religion, their beliefs. I just always believe, even if you're a Muslim, if you're Jewish, if you're Buddhist, I don't care. I care about who you are as a person, individual, and is making sure whatever you believe in is not going to be used to manipulate you and others. What I've always noticed about um, when it comes to Christianity in particular, they will get people who are not necessarily critical thinkers, but are good memorizers. So they can good at memorizing certain scriptures and stuff. They can make them believe it, but they don't ever have people who are critical thinkers trying to push out this word and stuff, right? Because critical thinkers are going to ask more questions. People who are just good at memorizing, oh, this is what I learned, this is what it is, then regurgitate it, which is good in a sense, because if you think about it, that's how the word of God or the Bible and most stuff was passed down, was through word of mouth. So people who were really good at memorizing stuff, we had that information because of word of mouth, because not everybody knew how to read and write back then. So there's nothing wrong with that. But then when you have people that will question it, like, hey, this seems incomplete. Hey, what is this? Hey, how is Jesus a white man? That doesn't make any sense if you say he's from this area overseas. So sometimes I feel like Christianity doesn't necessarily like critical thinkers. They just like people that can memorize and regurgitate. The oral tradition, yeah, that too, if you want to call it that. Yes, absolutely. Sometimes I feel uncomfortable saying Jesus. I wonder if I have an antichrist spirit because I would rather call him Yahshua. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Call him what you want to. I mean, that is his true name. Sorry for my typos. What would God make a man knowing full well most of the creation would end up in hell? That is a really great question, and that goes into a larger. That goes. People have supposedly the Book of Enoch answers that, but I'm not going to touch on that right now. Is a New Testament old either one preach out one is all facts. I love you, bro. Just don't lead people down the wrong direction. And you see, I'm not trying to lead anybody down the wrong direction, right? The only thing I'm saying is that whenever you read anything, because you got to think about it, the Bible was written by man. Angels did not come down and write the Bible for us as a master interpretation. The Bible has been edited, revised, changed, books taken out by men, by man, right? So if that is the case, then I don't think it's unreasonable to question some of the stuff that's in there because men in general, or man in general, is just a very corrupt, self-serving, and people in power realize that using something like that can control the masses. That's why I gave the example earlier back in slavery days. In America, there are two versions of the Bible. There was the Bible that the white people have and the Bible they gave to the slaves. That's just the truth. And the slave Bible was the one that had a lot of information taken out of it to make sure that they was serving and they made them believe, which is not true, but they made them believe that the reason black people were slaves was because it was a mercy from God. Nobody wants to talk about that though. My brother, you must come and learn about the Bible and love Ethiopia. Again, I do want to get my hand on Ethiopian Bible one day. I'm not playing any games. The piece of the Bible that I'm most important in the New Testament, Jesus, most important part, follow the Ten Commandments. Let's love you, love thy neighbor. You know, the Ten Commandments are pretty much unproblematic, so I have no problem with that. Hey, what's the subject today? I just came in. So I started off talking about DDG, and then I went into Cassie and Diddy. Then somehow the chat just kind of went into a religious area, so I just started responding stuff to the chat when it came to more religious stuff. Okay, I'll check out the book. Enoch, have you looked into Islam? Yes, somewhat. I'm still looking into it a little bit, just for the fact that I just want to know what the issue is people have with Islam in general, and not the BS versions that people like Andrew Tate or what's that woman named the Instagram model that went converted to Islam, Brittany Renner. Because I don't feel like, if I'm being honest, I don't feel like they really had a real interpretation of that. I kind of feel like they use it to their own benefit. But I did have a few conversations with authentic Muslims who preach the faith. And again, Malcolm was a Muslim. He was of Islam. I cannot sit here and say Malcolm hasn't done more good for black people in America than anybody else. Anybody else. But yet you have Dr. King that is celebrated with a holiday because he preached acceptance and forgiveness, while Malcolm fought and said, hey, they need to respect us. We're going to make them respect us. We're going to be educated. We're going to work as a unison. We're going to build our own communities. Things like that, they didn't like us to hear, right? They didn't like us to hear that. So when I and that's getting to more of a personal thing to why I always preferred Malcolm over Mark. I mean, yeah, I always prefer Malcolm over Dr. King. It's the message of the Bible reserved even the same important teachings. Yeah. Pinnacle almost accurate, but I truly understand almost Arabic. Yes, I like your criticism. You seem very open-minded and intelligent, sir. Thank you. And I try to be open-minded because I realize if you really think about it, the way they divide us is through religion. It's very rare that we can actually have an open and honest conversation about what the Bible says, what the Quran says, things like that, and how they can compare and how they're similar. That's the thing that I always wanted to do. I just want to have an open, honest conversation and how those things can truly benefit people, right? I don't think since the Bible was made by man that we should not criticize and question it. Just because you criticize and question something doesn't mean you don't believe in it. That just means you want to make sure you're getting the most accurate information. There's an old saying, right? That if you truly love and care about somebody, you're going to sit there like a family member. What are you going to do? You're going to criticize them, teach them, and advise them. You're going to be critical of that person because you don't want them just to do whatever they want and go down the wrong path. That's how I feel about when it comes to these religious texts. Doesn't matter where it comes from. I want to question it. I want to know the origins. I want to know who edited it. And that's just my opinion of it, right? Me questioning it doesn't mean that I have less faith. If anything, it means I want to have a deeper understanding of any faith because I want to know more about it. I just can't take it at face value. Let's see. It's about following Jesus and understanding and reading the Bible, giving your heart and trouble, stress, struggling, less, giving him Jesus say versus. Okay. So I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I am going to say in that statement is it takes away too much responsibility from people whenever you have a statement like that. Jesus is not here right now. Yes, you can read his lessons, try to be a better person from it, but he's not here. So we got to make sure that even though we may have faith in another person, we got to find faith in other people too, because we're here with other people. We got to help the other people. I said that because people word as long get scared or defensive. I don't get scared. If I'm scared of something, that means I fear it. I don't fear a religion. I fear people. I feel people who are not open, enough to have an understanding or conversation. If you believe something strong enough, and if you deeply looked into the aspects of it, good and bad, and you still choose to believe it, then have a conversation about it. That's the only thing I'm saying. Confess to him, love, don't sin. Let's see. Looking for England, Dr. King focus on hope, Malcolm focus on doing. Could be wrong though, not my history. For the most part, and that's the thing with hope. People will dangle hope in front of your face all day long. You could work at a dead end job for like 20 years, and they be like, "Hey, if you just do this, you'll get here. If you do this, you'll get here." And you keep making the adjustments and keep moving the goalposts, so they can keep getting that extra performance out of you to keep that hope going, right? The difference with Malcolm is he's like, okay, well, F that job, build your own resources, and let's come together to make it better. So, yes, that's why I've always been a fan of Malcolm. And that's why Malcolm has, in America at least, not been celebrated or given the credit that he deserves. And if you actually listen to anything that Malcolm has said, outside of his religious tests, how the media is controlled, how it's viewing black people, how our communities are destroyed, Malcolm predicted a lot of stuff that's going on today. Okay, you're losing me, brother. What's your opinion on the Israeli and Palestine, Anthony? It's not my place to comment on it. I feel like that personally, America in general shouldn't be involved there. That's just my opinion of it. We shouldn't be there. We have nothing to do with there. And, that's their own personal stuff over there. Let them figure it out. Tyrese, heaven is not a place of people who haven't sinned at all. It's all those sin and repent. Whose religions are you? I'm sorry, saying this most respectful way possible. Jesus loves you. It's not an argument, believe me though. I feel betrayed. That's it. I fear betrayal. That's it. Betrayal happens to everybody. Everybody gets betrayed at one point in time, right? Um, Gabriel Jones, the blind leading the blind. What's your religion? So I grew up Christian Baptist in the South, right? But as I got older, and I started questioning things. I wasn't getting more answers. I had to start researching things myself. So as of right now, I consider myself more neutral, but my foundation is a tradition, a Southern Baptist. But what I do notice, especially in the comments, when I speak about, questioning things, it kind of triggers some of you people in here. I don't understand why. If the Bible was written by man, and I think somebody wrote in here earlier about the oral tradition of how people memorize it and just pass it on to other people, it's going to get skewed some way, shape, or form, just like with the game of telephone, right? I don't know if how old you were, but back in the day, we'll play the game of telephone where, the teacher would give somebody a message and then they'll pass it along against like the 15 students. And by the time it gets to the end, it's going to be completely different message. It may have like one or two aspects of it. And keep in mind, I went to a Christian school for the longest time. And even our teacher at the time even showed us that it's like, look, just like how the message got just because this is like how the message got misinterpreted here. That's the same thing that could have got done back then too. So I'm a fan of questioning stuff. I even raised my daughter that way. My daughter, I didn't push any religion on her, but I told her whatever you believe, whatever you choose to look into, it doesn't matter if it's school, religion, or anything. Make sure you question to have a full understanding of it. Because if you don't, and if you just accept what people are telling you, you can get easily manipulated and taken advantage of that way. So, and that's what I'm saying here. That whenever it happens, whether it's your work, religion, even these trials and stuff that was going on right now with DDG and Diddy and Cassie, question it. Use your critical thinking skills. That's one of the most valuable tools that you can have to make sure you are protected. You can protect the people around you that you love. And that's just my opinion of it. Do I believe Jesus? So I do believe Jesus was a real person. There's too much evidence to show that he wasn't a real person. However, though, even if you look at Islam, people just think he was a what you call that prophet, not necessarily son of God. Do I think he held a lot of significant importance? Yes. Do I think we know exactly what that significant importance is? Exactly, no. But no matter where you go, he had some strong value, and that's all that matters. He means something to people. I think that's what's the more important thing. To have intelligence is to question. Exactly. We're not meant to be sheep. We do got to question stuff. And like I mentioned before, that's how the word got passed down is through the oral tradition, memorization. But then there are also people that critically thought about it. And unfortunately, some of those people use it to manipulate and change. Look at the most popular version of the Bible that's out right now, the King James Version. Look at the history of that. Look at the history of King James, actually, and how he also wrote the demonology book. But yet that man had a final say of the version of the Bible. I mean, come on, man. Critical thinkers will find ways to use good things to manipulate people for their own benefit. And that's all I'm saying. You got to look at the history of stuff a lot of the time. If you look at policy and God and everlasting life, understand maybe problem is a poor representation. I understand the telephone theory, the thing is tough. In the Bible is the word of God, then the message preserved to divine means. Okay, clearly a troll there. So I don't know why WSP things, but and that's how they get to us by the beliefs there. But the whole entire topic originally I got into was that people are not questioning Cassie and Diddy enough. And that's just my opinion there. Just to bring it back home to the topic I originally had a video for. That when it comes to Cassie, people see her as a very beautiful woman that was manipulated by an old man, which in a sense she could have been manipulated, but at the exact same time, young and pretty women are known to go for older men because they want to be taken care of. And she already had a boyfriend that adored her, that she got tattooed on her, and then she went from another person to with more money and more means. So, and that's what I mean there. Like you always gotta think about these things. We always just can't take things at face value. We always gotta take things at face value. Anyway, we can't take things at face value. Excuse me. We gotta question everything. And like hitting more details when it comes about this is starting to get kind of like, okay, yes, Diddy is guilty. Yes, Diddy should spend some time in prison, but I still haven't heard anything about this whole entire RICO charges trying to deal with him as of yet. The shroud, and that's the thing that Jesus was buried in. I remember seeing that. Um, I didn't watch the documentary of it. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I am familiar with it. Again, I'm not disputing Christianity. I'm not disputing the beliefs or the stuff that's in there. I'm just questioning how much of it was changed to manipulate people. Because if you think about it, you know what? There's something I would like for you to read. Oh God, let me see if I can find it. I don't want to lose my phone. Let me go to my computer right here. There was a document that was made by a German czar, I want to say, when they was trying to get resources from Africa, and they had it pushed to where they wanted certain aspects of Christianity of the Bible pushed, so they wouldn't force them to rebel and it could keep stripping them of their resources. Sure, I don't know how to make people a mod. Let me see. As moderator. There we go. There you go. I got you as a moderator. I appreciate you. So, because I'm on my phone, let me see here. Give me 1 second here. Let me sorry, get this pulled up. But yeah, why are you crying right now, Felicity? I don't understand. And if you've all been watching this whole entire time, make sure you like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Yeah, trolls are popular. It's part of the game. Um, Thoughts on Sleep Token album? I'm not familiar with that. Fallout, you're on it, man. Dang, good stuff. A very weird dream. I don't know what kind of dream did you have. Hope it wasn't nothing inappropriate. Man, can I ask you guys a question or something? Do you guys over there feel free? I'm in England. I'll be honest with you. As far as feeling free in America, Honestly, not really, not anymore. It's one of those things that it's crazy over here. It's crazy over here. And it's what for a lot of people voted for. I find that pretty interesting because a lot of people voted for Trump, right? And I'm not going to touch on politics too much, but I will say that a lot of our farmers here are regretting voting for Trump. And they voted for Trump very heavily. A lot of people who are losing benefits voted for Trump, and they're regretting that very heavily. Um, so I knew what it was going to be when Trump got elected. They have a lot more people who are more willing to be more open, um, let's flat open racist, open, overly critical. It's just it's setting the country back decades upon decades here, and it makes me worry for the future generations. I'm being really honest with you. It's kind of sad. I saw P Diddy as a kid running away from Clyde Davis and T. Come on, man. I mean, that is a crazy dream. I don't know how. Okay, that would, yeah. Oh man. Okay, there is. I'm still trying to find that document because it was really good. I read it. I know I got a bookmark on my phone. I just don't feel like trying to go there because I'm afraid it would end the live. Let's see. Let's go into the comments right quick. Mean Jeans, will be the living. Heck out of those two. I mean, if you're on Diddy's side, that's kind of weird. I will say this though. You don't get to be a billionaire, right? Without doing something questionable. I'm just gonna leave it at that. The terrorists are a big part of the unease. However, I think he's made strides in bringing peace and unity to the Middle East. He's also progress in the Russia-Ukraine war, although Putin is making it difficult. I will say, when it comes to those wars, personally, I don't think we should never been in there. Um, 9 times out of 10, I see people from Ukraine and normally making fun of Americans, and I understand the main reason we were there for resources, if I'm being honest with you. But we have plenty of resources here in state, mineral rights in state that we could take advantage of. So but we just don't want to pay the people the amount they're worth. What was the hurricane that tore up America recently? And they found a bunch of deposits of lithium, and they still haven't really repaired that town yet. I can't think of what it's called. So there's so much news going on here, and you get kind of frustrated trying to think of it all most of the time. Agree, not a fan of Ukraine. They also banned the Russian Orthodox Church there, which is authoritarian. You know what I found interesting about Russia? I remember recently they opened one of their churches or something like that. They had sealed off, and they had paintings of black people there, which I thought was kind of odd. And I was just like, oh, okay. So the supposedly what Russia believes in is the preservation of true history. They'll believe in, hiding or manipulating it to fit their needs. Supposedly, they just believe in just preserving the true history as it is. So when they had depictions of like, Jesus and saints and stuff as black in there, I thought that was pretty interesting to see that in Germany because let's be real here, Germany is, I don't think they have anything other but white in Germany. If they do, that I don't know. But normally, you think of Germany, you think of, not Germany, I mean Russian, you think of white. I know Putin is making it difficult. Great enough in Ukraine. They been, say Zelensky is trying to ride the gravy train, in my opinion. Yeah, they all are. And it's not just Zelensky, too. It's just most of the people who are over there. Um, it's just most of the people over there. All of them are just making money off of us. Again, that's their war. We should never, even though I know a lot of the supposing financial aid that we gave them was a lot of old military weapons that we have. We still should not give it to them. We should have never got involved in that situation. All those billions of dollars could have been used in America to make America look better than China. That's just the way I view it. Exactly. Yeah, you see, and that's, I can respect that. I can respect that you just want to preserve history how it is. You don't gotta change it to fit a narrative. It's kind of like when people, again, there's a lot of Caucasian people that went to Pompeii, and they wanted to censor Pompeii, right? Pompeii had a lot of risque stuff on the floors and walls, and it wasn't, it didn't fit the narrative they wanted, so they try to cover up a lot of stuff. They try to erase it, change it, paint over it. They altered history a lot. So that's why I'm just kind of like, I can respect Russia in that area, and they just want to preserve history how it is. Christianity, right? Matt, I agree with you too, and that's why I said I really want. One day, I just want to go to Ethiopia, try to find me an authentic Ethiopian Bible, because I feel like anything I would buy in the States wouldn't be the real thing, right? It's really hard to get books in the States that's not altered or manipulated. I'm just being real here. And in fact, they're trying to ban books here. They've banned a lot of books here. And if you want to talk about preserving history, they don't do that here. They water down and manipulate history so bad here. And the so I used to love history, right? And even now, from the time when I was a kid until my daughter is in school, my daughter's 17 now. Um, just like Black History Month and Black History Facts, or the history of slavery and things of that nature. She doesn't learn nowhere near as much as I did from when I was her age. However, though, because I'm who I am, I made sure she still knew the ugliness of that time period. You know, the cannibalism, the skinning and making of jewelry and purses and things of that nature. Even George Washington's teeth were made from slaves. They're not all wooden. That doesn't make any sense. They're partially made from slaves too. So it's one of those things that history gets changed and altered all the time to fit a narrative. And to bring that back to the Bible and Christianity and most religions, why would we believe? And keep in mind, we've had corrupt popes, we had corrupt priests that would harm women and children, and use the word of God um, to control them, keep them from speaking out and speaking up. Why would we not think that the word that we believe in so much was not manipulated by people who wanted to keep the average person suppressed and keep the wealthy people protected? Ethiopia. That's what I heard too. I heard the Ethiopian Bible is the oldest. And in fact, they even said that the what was it? The Ark of the Covenant should be in Ethiopia too. So Ethiopia has a lot of rich Christian history. And it's kind of interesting how, Ethiopia is a very African country. However, somehow, Christianity is a very white leading religion somehow. You know, their depiction of Jesus is of a homosexual Spaniard. The if you go into most churches, you'll see a white person with blonde hair and blue eyes in some places. It's just there's a lot of manipulation there, and we're just not willing to see it. At all time, they're his property. Yeah, exactly. There are many Jews in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is the only African country never to be colonized and supposedly has an ark. Yeah, I know. I know. That's all I was saying. I need to make a trip there and just take a look at it. Um, I cannot find that article for the life of me. Hang on a sec. Hopefully it doesn't close my live. Give me a second. Okay. I still got my live. Let me see if it'll let me post. Again, I'm on my phone, so I'm not the most. Let's see. Gotta be something I can. There we go. No, that's not doing what I wanted to do. So I can't put that there. Let's see if I can do it another way. I want to do no. I don't want to stop streaming. I'm gonna leave that alone for right now. It was King Leopold, I think. Let's see. Okay, here we go. If you ever have time, is it gonna switch? There we go. Let me turn this way. Yeah. All right. If you ever have time, I know that's how you're gonna read it. A letter from King Leopold II of Belgium to colonized missionaries in 1988. If you guys ever have time, read that. Read that. And that's what I'm talking about right there, that Christianity being used to manipulate people to get what they want. He used that to justify brutalizing and suppressing Africans. And again, I'm telling you, if you read that letter and a lot of quotes that people use in the Bible, he used there. So, and that's why I say we should always question. I feel like I probably, if I was back in the day, if I was one of the people that was in the 1800s and I just questioned stuff like that, I probably been unalived right away. Because I've never been that type of person built to accept things for how they are. You just can't tell me this. Even when I was a kid, I used to want to take stuff apart just to see how they worked. I got in trouble a lot. I would take apart the radio. I would take apart the TV, at least I tried to. I would take apart my cars. I would just take apart a lot of things. So I always wanted to know what it was behind something. And my phone's about to die. I need to get a charger. See, I haven't really talked this long before on the live because, yeah, let me see. And y'all people still here, thank you for the likes. If you subscribe, thank you too. If you haven't, go ahead and subscribe too. I appreciate it. And give me 1 second. I'm going to plug in my phone right quick. Well, I'm just messing everything up. All right, there we go. I'm just. All right. I just saw the time. I gotta actually get out of here soon, but I appreciate all the interaction and talking. I appreciate all the open-minded people too. And Fallout, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, man. You've been great, especially helping me out with this moderating stuff. I appreciate that. But yeah, I gotta sit here and make lunch because I didn't realize it's almost noon. Well, noon my time. So again, if you guys haven't liked and subscribed, go ahead and do so. I appreciate you guys. Let's see, is that true? Let's read Matthew 13:20, parable of weeds growing amongst good crops. Okay. I'll definitely give that a read. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you again. Bye.